Top of the morning to you. This is Monday with Friday, wishing for you a great week ahead. Well, the World Cup football tournament is now over. Felicidades a España. I'm a little disappointed that Bad Bunny wasn't in the halftime show. The organizers should have seen two Spanish-speaking finalists coming from the start and made sure that a Spanish entertainer was on hand. But Bad Bunny had his show back in February at the thing that Americans call football. Ha! But what a controversial tournament. Many people thought that United States locations should have been excluded on the basis of this government's attitude towards people from the global south and immigration issues in general. And they may have become sure of that position as they've seen the way some dark-skinned players or their teams were treated shabbily and vindictively by the criminally led organization known as the United States government. As for the stupid intervention of that criminal whom some think contributed to the United States team's loss, and the even stupider and unethical acquiescence of the FIFA head to this stupid man's bidding, the controversies could not have been uglier. Here is some of the unconscionable wickedness the United States government unleashed on World Cup players and teams. They executed a racist tactic on Iran. Jim Crow law, you might recall, summarily criminalized black persons found in certain towns after sundown, the sundown law. And whites frequently abused that law by lynching any black person found in that town after sundown. So the United States government required Iran to leave the United States for Mexico immediately after each game they played. The sun should not shine on Iranians in America. Sundown shouldn't catch them here. They were required to return to Mexico at the end of every game and return for their next match. Iran had to do that 3 times. Can you imagine the hit on their morale and on their energy? One player's visa expired midway, adding to his team's misery. A host nation shouldn't treat its guests like that. Next, the Senegal team was body searched on the tarmac in San Antonio, Texas, not even in an immigration room. This barbaric treatment is only what a sadist would render to a country he thinks of as a latrine hole. The Uzbekistan squad was searched by federal officers, including police dogs. Several Iraqi teamsters were questioned for hours. Their striker was detained 7 hours, and their photographer was denied entry. Nobody knows how many fans from the African and South American continents were denied entry to the United States to support their teams. Nationals of Algeria, Cape Verde, Côte d'Ivoire, Senegal, and Tunisia were required to post visa bonds of up to $15,000 US to obtain visitor visas. Which average American even could have managed that had another nation imposed that on them? Then, the Somali referee Omar Artan was denied entry at Miami Airport and was unable to participate in the entire tournament. A world-class referee. The rich irony is that Andrew Giuliani, a White House operative, said that Artan, quote, had been talking to some very bad people, unquote. Does he mean like when his father, Rudy, was talking to bad foreign actors to fabricate lies against Clinton, Obama, and Biden to perpetuate his then boss's lie that he won in 2020? Does Andrew mean like when the White House occupant has habitually spoken without lawfully required recording to very bad people like the Russian and Saudi butchers, the Israeli genocider, and the Pyongyang rocket man? It's hard not to surmise that the Somali referee was denied entry simply because he was a black man from an African nation. Talking about irony, this World Cup's ironies were also never-ending. There's the irony of how many black players were found on some teams whose nations are unfriendly to immigrants. France, Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, the United Kingdom, the UK in particular, and Switzerland have electorates who see immigration as a crisis was a serious national challenge, with Spain and Portugal growing increasingly disquiet. Here's the mother of ironies. The player for whom the wild donkey of a man in the White House improperly injected himself for a reversal of his red card is the quintessential definition of the kind of American born in America to non-immigrants whose birthright citizenship this wild donkey man wishes to erase, and whose parents are from a country that donkey man calls a latrine hole. That's the irony of ironies. By the way, the term wild donkey of a man is a biblical term. The name the writer of Genesis applies purportedly from God's mouth to one of the biggest and earliest losers in the Bible. At least that loser, Esau, was cheated. It is an especially appropriate name for any big loser who, after properly losing on their own demerit, lies about his loss and goes on to behave like a donkey. I only wish that world leaders, including the American president where I live, and the prime ministers of Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica where I have lived, would strive to uphold their people's best values, ideals, and excellence, like both Spain and Argentina did yesterday, and genuinely grieve, as Lionel Messi did when they missed the mark. The players of all 48 teams deserve our congratulations, and they all generally played by the rules. In that regard, they are more honorable than their FIFA president, than the American presidential host, and a host of other national leaders worldwide. On that score, there is therefore still hope for humankind. The rich, dishonest, dishonorable, unethical, and shameless fat cats, the billionaires and the 1 trillionaire, are the ones we need to red card permanently out of the game. I'm Michael Friday, and your week just got better. I'll see you again next week. Happy Monday, all the way to Friday.